Okay, back to Tehillim, and I'm just going to repeat what the mission is for today because for recording for posterity's sake. I also don't know if this is going to be a mission that's accomplishable, but we're going to try, okay? Because we've never done this before. So what we're going to do is last year we did Mizmor, or we did L'David Hashem Ori V'ishi, which is the perek that we say for the minhag of some people is to say for from Rosh Chodesh Elul through Shmini Atzeres, right? And we spent 3 sessions on it and we analyzed it. I remember it being really good ideas. So then Fishbein asked me after shul on Shabbos. He said, can you give me a quick review of the perek? I said, why don't we relearn it? So part of it is I wanted to relearn it, but the other thing is I have a new favorite commentator. Okay, so you have not heard of him by name, I don't think. Elia di Nola. Okay, you may have heard of him, Italian. Okay, this is part of my whole Italian school. Okay, so you might have heard of him because of in my shiurim where I've done. You see here. Okay, let me show you. So on Torah you have Sforno, and then on majority of Sforno's Svarim you now have shiuri Ruvavadia Sforno. Okay, which means the shiurim of Elia di Nola. Okay, so this is on Chumash, and the way it was described when Al HaTorah debuted it was it said, how would you like to get an insight into like behind the scenes of Sforno's learning or notes from his shiurim? Okay, and that's what it is. Okay, so I've been loving it because it really is like getting a new Sforno commentary. And I contacted the guy who is writing and publishing this, Rabbi Moshe Kravitz, and I asked him, I said, how reliable is it to treat this as the Shita of the Sforno? Like, let's say, for example, we're going to see it tonight somewhat. Sforno says one thing, and then the shiurim of Rabbi Sforno says something else. So I said, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, do I rely on the student? So here is the response I received. He says, regarding attribution, so first of all, I asked who it is. He said, regarding attribution, in the intro of the Amar HaGaon on Tehilim, which I have not yet read, I more or less proved that the author of the shiurim is Rav Elia di Nola. And I saw another article that said Elia di Nola, alias Di Butrio, a physician, rabbi, and pupil of Sforno. I'm actually submitting a PhD thesis on Rav Elia di Nola's own Pirush on Tehilim, written after his Rebbe passed away, which I identified, and on which basis I demonstrated that he is the author of Amar HaGaon. In my opinion, di Nola is a very reliable interpreter of the Sforno, and if you come across contradictions, I would rather say, based on such cases I have come across and verified, that Sforno changed his mind rather than to say that di Nola misunderstood. Okay, so he, the expert on both Sforno and this Sefer, basically is saying that like treat him for all intents and purposes as like a mouthpiece of the Sforno, giving additional commentary. Okay, so yes.
He changed his mind. Which one would be the one that he changed?
Meaning that the student, I think the implication that the student is the more reliable and the more updated one.
Kind of like when Avram Ben Aramam says Ram changed his mind.
Yeah, correct. We rely on Avram Ben Aramam. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what I'd like to do tonight is review, but because this is a review, we're not going to learn through the translation or the questions from scratch, because I want to try to get this done tonight. Not that we're in a rush, and if it is taking a longer time, we can take 2 sessions, but I feel like we only have 2 sessions before Rosh Hashanah, and I kind of want to do something Rosh Hashanah related next week for Tefillah shiur. So we'll that's what I want to do. Okay, so let's really quickly go over our translation that we did last time, which I printed out. Obviously, Sforno might change stuff, but this is just I think this is just the translation. We did this all of September in 2022. I don't think you were coming to Tehilim at that point. Yeah. Okay. So you'll be our objective, like never having learned this before. What? It was a year ago. Yeah, I checked. Yeah.
I sound like very vivid memories.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, no, I don't think you. I don't think you were coming at the very beginning. Yeah.
I have like vivid memories of like David, David Melvin on a rock and like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have the zombie brain eating memories. That feels like a very short time ago. Also. Yeah. Old associations. Okay. All right. So let's get to it. Okay. So L'David Hashem Ori V'ishi Mimi Ira Hashem Ma'uz Chayai Mimi Evchad. I'm just going to read what I wrote here. Of David, Hashem is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Hashem is the stronghold or the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Bikrov alai mereim le'echol es basari sarai v'oivai hema chashlu v'nafalu. When evildoers approach me to eat my flesh, that's why we said zombies. My tormentors and those who are enemies to me, they stumble and fall. Im tachane alai machane, if a camp is marshaled against me, lo yira lipi, my heart will not fear. Im takum alai milchama, bezos ani boteach, if war will arise against me, in this I trust. Achas sha'alti meis Hashem, one thing I have asked from Hashem, osah avakesh, it I have requested. Shivti beves Hashem kol yimei chayai, that I shall sit in the house of Hashem all the days of my life, lachazos b'noam ad Hashem levake b'hechalo, to gaze upon the pleasantness of Hashem and to seek after his sanctuary, or to inspect his sanctuary, I think is another translation. Ki yitzpeneni b'suko, for he will hide me in his shelter on the day of evil. B'yom ra'a yasrein, on the day of evil he will shelter me. B'seser aholo, no, I forgot how to punctuate this. Ki yitzpeneni b'suko b'yom ra'a Yastidrini b'seser ahalo b'tsur yeromimeni. Yeah, that's the rock you were talking about.
Yeah.
He conceals me in the tent, in the recess of his tent. On a rock, he raises me up.
I think you missed the first.
Oh, did I? For he will hide me in the shelter on his shelter in the day of evil. He conceals me in the recess of his tent. On a rock, he raises me up. The ata, and now, yarum roshi al oivai. He will raise up my head over my surrounding enemies. Zombie enemies. Yeah, I guess I didn't delete that part. Yes, Vivasai. Yes, and thank you. So it's Vivasai. The Ezbacha oholo zivche srua, and I will sacrifice amid joyous cries. Okay, trua usually means sad cries, but sometimes it can mean joyous shouts. Ashira ba'azamar Hashem. I will sing and make music to Hashem. Shema Hashem koli ekra v'chaneni va'aneni. Hear Hashem, my voice when I call. I will be gracious. Sorry, be gracious unto me and answer me. All right, this part we had a little bit of ambiguity here. L'cha, oh, this is a very difficult passage.
Yeah.
L'cha amar libi bakshu fanai es panecha ad Hashem avakesh. So I'm just going to read what we wrote here. To you, capital Y, meaning to Hashem, my heart said, seek out my lowercase m face. Your face, Hashem, I seek. Okay, I don't remember how we arrived at that reasoning, but I remember Ken and I worked it out. Al taster panecha mimeni. Do not hide your face from me. Al tat be'af avdecha. Do not turn away in wrath your servant. Ezrasi hayisa, you were my help. Al titasheni ve'al tasveni elokeishi. Do not forsake me and do not abandon me, God of my salvation. Ki avi v'imi azavuni. For my father and mother have forsaken me, but Hashem yasveni, Hashem will gather me in. Horeini ad Hashem darkecha unechini bo'orach mishor laman shorarai. Teach me, Hashem, your path and guide me on a level path for the sake of or on account of my adversaries. Shorarai is another word that had different translations. I think this brackets here, who gleefully watched, was from one of the Mefarshim. Al titaneni b'nefesh tsarai. Don't give me over to the soul or the will of my tormentors. Ki kamu v'edi sheker v'feach Hamas, when false witnesses rise up against me who breathe violence. Lule hemati lurus b'tuvat Hashem be'eretz chayim. If not for the fact that I believe to see the goodness of Hashem in the land of life. So we translated it ... in ellipses, which is a Tanakh stylistic way of like when you don't want to say something bad, you just don't end the sentence. Hope to Hashem, strengthen and embolden your heart, and hope to Hashem. Oh, by the way, so one of the reasons why I wanted to teach this also with this commentary is he has a positively scandalous interpretation of the end of this perek. Okay, you're never going to see it the same way again. Okay, very exciting. Yeah. Do we need to turn on a little bit of air conditioning? Is anyone else muggy? Okay, yeah. I it's like humid. Yeah. What was it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
My
Fine for you.
house has like been like 86 all day, even with the air conditioner.
Oh my goodness,
so
yeah.
This is a relief.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
We'll
my
wait for
room,
Ariel.
because of the lack of-
Would you be able to post the translation in the
Oh
chat?
yes. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for reminding me of that. Yes. Let me try to get half and half. Sorry, Chaim, what were you saying?
I was just saying that my room upstairs, when I walked in today and turned on my AC, it was 86 degrees in there. So that was wonderful.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't complain then.
You can complain. I'm just saying, like, yeah, like Oren
Yeah.
said, like this is nice for me.
Or do you get AC?
We got on AC that much Shabbat.
Yeah, I don't know how people in New York could do it without
I tried
before AC.
for
Yeah,
like a day.
yeah, it's
Well,
bad.
it's also like heat wave right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It was like I held up my meat thermometer,
Yeah.
and it's in the air. It said like 92 or something like that.
It was 95 today.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
It was,
very
it was hotter than Florida.
Okay. Speaking of shelter from bad stuff. Okay, so I guess. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, thank you, Ariel. Okay.
Glad to be your agent of trust.
Yes. Okay. So I do have all the questions that we asked below, but just what strikes you or what do you remember as like major questions? Yeah.
Okay.
Isaiah?
Something that I don't know if this is a major question, but this struck me this time.
Yeah.
He says at the end of Pasuk Gimel,
Yeah.
like if these things happen to me, in this I trust. And I don't know what we said before, the thing that he's trusting in.
Right.
But I feel like it could be two options or maybe more.
Yeah.
Because in the next pasuk he says there's one thing he has asked from Hashem,
Right.
and then it's this.
Yeah.
So is the thing that he trusts in the thing that he's requesting,
Yep.
or him asking Hashem?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else. I think you could break it down then into two things. Either it's referring to Pasuk Daled, and then you could break it down within Pasuk Daled, or what would be the other thing he's trusting in, I guess? Hashem or Ivishi, right? Is referring back to the previous thing. Okay, I don't know if we asked that either. That was a good question. Yeah, fine.
I remember, I think, like touch on it for a second.
Yeah.
But I remember like a major question we asked last time was Achash Altumis Hashem. And
Right.
he lists off like
Yeah.
4 things.
Yeah, it's not one thing, right?
It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like one thing.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
that is definitely a question. Yeah. Anyone else remember anything? And then we'll read our questions. Again, I know this feels weird that we're rushing it, but that's what review is.
I've been thinking about this every time I've said it, and I still can't remember what the what tent is talking about.
Oh, the tent? Okay. Well,
no, Pasuk 10.
Oh, 10. Yeah, I think we had difficulty with that as well. Right, sounds weird that he's talking about his parents.
Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Tomorrow.
I think, I guess, I don't, we probably asked this, even though maybe other Tilims also are like this. It starts confident and then it switches into
Right.
Bakasha.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, I believe that was our main question, and not just confident and into a bakasha. I think we said it starts off confident and then ends up being like almost fearful / despondent. In some ways, like I'm being abandoned. So the tone clashes. Yeah, Isaiah.
What's the deal with I guess the imagery of like being hidden away by Hashem? Like,
Right.
It seems like it would be better if Hashem just stopped the days of evil.
Yeah, we didn't. I think that's a great question. We also didn't ask about the fact that hidden is a different thing than Hashem raising him up over a rock. Both of them are protection, but one of them is like.
I feel like we touched on
Did we?
that.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah. Okay, so let's. Yeah. Ariel?
What's the scenario? Did you ask?
Yes. What is the scenario? Oh, I'm glad you actually brought that up because this will be why I'm going to explain why I rejected Sforno
Shame
last
on
time.
you guys, you guys already know that.
Okay. Someone's feeling insecure about missing it last time.
I feel like I'm at a disadvantage right
I know.
now.
No, don't worry. We're going to get it fresh. No, you're actually at the most advantage because you're the most ignorant, right? I mean, because you didn't have any prejudices. Yeah. Okay. So let's read what we did last time, and then we'll add any question that we missed. Okay. So question 1, what is the one thing he's asking for? Is it one thing? How does this fit in with the rest of the perek? What about all the other requests in the perek like 9, 10, 11, 12? Okay, so where's the one thing? 2, who are these evildoers who are approaching him to consume his flesh? That's kind of asking the question about what's the scenario, right? We know that David had lots of times when people were attacking him. So where is that? 3, this was the question that Tamar mentioned. This feels schizophrenic. That was the word we used last time.
Tamar asked that question last time.
Okay, could be.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike, but same minds think alike also. Yeah. Yeah. So this feels schizophrenic or anxious / desperate. He switches between confidence in Hashem's salvation and fear of abandonment. 4, what kind of assistance is he asking for? Is it just instruction like in 4 and 11? So let's just look at 4 and 11 again. 4, he says, that I should sit in the house of Hashem all the days of my life to gaze upon the pleasantness of Hashem and to seek after a sanctuary. And 11, he says, teach me, Hashem, your path and guide me on the level path for the sake of my adversaries, right? But then in 5 through 6 and then 12, he seems to be asking for much more. He will hide me in the shelter, in his shelter on the day of evil. He conceals me in the recess of his tent. On a rock, he raises me up. He will raise my my head over my surrounding armies, etc. And then what is it? 12. Don't give me over to the will of my tormentors. That actually seems to be asking for like external intervention or protection. Okay, 5 on 3. Question on 3. What is he trusting in? That was Isaiah's question, right? Bezos ani boteach. On 9. 9 says, do not hide your face from me, do not turn away in your wrath, in wrath your servant. why would Hashem turn him away in wrath? That seems to imply that he's somehow deserving of wrath and needs to ask for mercy. So why is that? On 9, he says, "You were my help," past tense. What is he referring to? Is he referring to a specific instance in which God helped him, or is he talking about just in general, God has helped him, like, becoming melech? On 11, what does for the sake of my adversaries mean? That's a very confusing thing. Let's just look at the Hebrew again. Horini ad Hashem darkecha unachini be'orach mishor. Teach me, Hashem, your way and guide me on a level path. Lama'an shorarai, for the sake of my enemies. So what does that mean?
We never answered that question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So we'll have to answer this time. And then why is the minhag? Why is the minhag to say this between Rosh Chodesh Elul and Shmini Atzeres? And can we give answers that don't involve a huge stretch?
I think I made a huge stretch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Because there's. I don't know what your stretch was, but I remember the very first time I heard an answer about this, which was I wouldn't call this a stretch. I would just call it cutesy. Is that
Oh no.
it says, hold on.
Is this a mnemonic thing?
No, it's
30.
what did it say? Well, I remember them pointing out it says sukkah, so that's sukkahs, and then I think they found like Rosh Hashanah allusion and Yom Kippur allusion, and and the reason why that's not good is because, I mean, maybe it's just my lack of imagination. I can't imagine like someone, the Council of Minhag, sitting together and saying, "Let us start a new minhag to say this Tehilim. Let's find something that alludes to all of the." No, I feel like there has to be something like in the actual substance of the perek that that warrants being said here. Okay, all right. So those are our questions. Okay, now
Can you go back to the question? I just want to take a picture of it because
yeah.
second,
Yeah. Okay. So, what was that?
I was asking you to chat.
Ah.
Or me.
yeah, I can send it to you.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So again, this is an unusual procedure for a Tehilim shiur. Usually we'd work it out, but I want to jump right into this commentary. Okay. So first of all, let me show you why we rejected Sforno last time. Okay. I believe. I don't know if I did this in shiur or if I just rejected it. So he says in the actual Sforno commentary, in this chapter, David is davening in his fleeing from Shaul so that he doesn't fall into his hand and into the hands of the nations, and to not learn from their actions when he's among them. So we rejected this for two reasons. One is, I mentioned that there's 3 modes that every perek of Tehilim can possibly be in, and sometimes it's multiple ones. There's the biographical mode, which is about David and an episode in his life. There's the national mode, which is about Klal Yisrael, either in the past, present, or future. And then there's the universal human ideas mode, or ideas that are always relevant. And I mentioned I always like to try to gravitate towards the commentaries that are universal because it is more relatable and also requires less research. And some of us didn't learn Sefer Shmuel when we were young, and some of us tried to get summer chavrusos where we learned it, and we got one perek into it, and then ended up doing gemaras and brachos. So I did not feel equipped to do this because I don't really know enough about Shaul. And the other reason is I think it's not clear. Is there anything in here that points to Shaul? Like I didn't see anything in here that pointed to Shaul. Okay, but then last year we didn't have access to Reb Elia. But now we do. So here's what he says. Okay, first of all, he thematically lays out the 2 themes of the perek. Okay. Oh, sorry, we forgot the most important part. Where's the pivot?
No.
I mean, we kind of alluded to it in tomorrow's question, but I think there's still up for debate where exactly you put it.
I can't think that fast.
Do not hide your face.
Yeah, 9.
You say 9? Okay. What do you say, Isaiah?
Yeah, 9.
You say 9? Okay. Tamar?
I think you could put it between 6 and 7.
Okay,
The
between 6
same
and
reason,
7?
I think, but maybe just how you read 7 and 8.
Okay, yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'll explain why I agree with you in a second. Yeah, Lauren knows the same thing. Yeah, so I don't remember what we said last time, but based on the distinction Tamar observed, this first half is very confident and saying what God will do, and then 7 switches to petitionary anxiety, right? Like please listen to me, like save me, don't abandon me, etc. Yeah, Isaiah?
I would just say that it was a progression. I feel like it gets worse. Like it starts off, he's just asking for Hashem to
Yeah.
listen to him, and then it's like, don't turn away from me, and so like it's getting a little bit more paranoid or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah. We're saying that
Nine
in 9. Okay,
nine
right.
is more.
Yeah, you could make an argument for 9. I just feel like the
I wouldn't say that it's the pivot point. I would say it's like the progression.
progression. Okay, I hear that. Yeah, Lauren?
I don't know why I remember thinking it was 4. I don't know, or maybe
4.
4
Well,
was different.
4
stood out.
definitely, yeah, 4 definitely is speaking. Well, actually, I was gonna say speaking about himself, but yeah, I mean, 4 definitely is the crux of the perek in the sense of like the most important pasuk, I think. But yeah, I don't think it's the pivot. Okay, so let's see what Rav Elia says. Okay, LeDavid Hashem Ori V'Yishi. Shemizmor has a soviv al shnei dvarim. Okay, very clear. This mizmor revolves around 2 things. Okay, 2 themes. Ha'echad, the first thing. Sherashem Yisparach Yosif lo ometz lenatseach oivav hanilchamim ita. That God will increase strength to defeat his enemies who will go to war with him. Lefi shetachlis kol milchamosav enam ki'im laharchiv lo letachlis his asko b'torah of mitzvah. Okay, I think we said this last time also, that the purpose of all of his wars is only to broaden for himself or to create the space to be able to be involved in Torah and mitzvahs. Okay, you want to say something?
I was asked a question, but I don't know if it's correct.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
How does God do that?
How does God help him win his wars?
Yeah. Is it magic? Is it like a shkaka? Like what?
Okay, so we'll see. We will see if he talks about it. I don't know if the perek is taking a stance on that. Yeah, I also don't think it's magic, but yeah,
I mean, hashkaka magic. I don't
know. Whoa. Kilo.
I'm ignorant.
Nachas b'Yaakov lo kesem b'Yisrael. Yeah. Oof. Okay.
Don't talk, don't worry. No, stick us. It's okay.
Okay. Lauren, is this a new question or your hands up from before? Okay, I guess it's up from before. Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, okay. So this is number 1, right? So he's saying Hashem, he's asking Hashem to increase strength to defeat his enemies because his only reason for engaging in war is to be free to be involved in Torah. Okay. 2, and obviously he's gonna expound on these when he comments on the pasuk. Yeah, Isaiah?
Is that Hashem's only reason or David's only reason?
I think David's only reason.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Vasheni Hashem yishmerehu miyitzro hamisgaber alav b'chol yom. That he's asking Hashem to protect him from his yetzer that threatens to overpower him every day. Amram zal, like Chazal say, now I actually saved us time by copying and pasting this Gemara. This is a famous Gemara. It's in Sukkah, Daf Nun Aleph, on the Aleph at the bottom. Sorry, Nun Beis on Aleph at the bottom. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Yitzro Sha'adam is Gaber La B'chol Yom. Man's Yetzer threatens to overpower him every day. I think threatens to overpower him is a better translation than overpowers him every day. Because they'll say, Shnemar, as it says, Rak Kol Hayom, it's only evil all day long, which Rashi says, I don't understand how Rashi gets this. Kol Hayom Ra'aso Mitosefes. All day long, his evil increases. So I don't know if he's learning Rak Kol Hayom. Is it only like is getting bad all day? I don't think it's shot that it is getting bad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Isaiah.
I don't want to like jump to ideas for what this is saying.
Okay, actually, let's just reading the Gemara first. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, so Reish Lakish says, Yitzro Adam is Gaber Allah b'chol yom u'mavakish lamiso. So man's Yitzer threatens to overpower him every day and wants to kill him. Shnemar, as it says, Sofer Rasha latzadik u'mavakish lahamiso. It says that the Rasha watches out for the tzaddik and seeks to kill him. Okay, and the Rasha here is the Yetzer Hara and the tzaddik is the Yetzer Tov, or the person. The Ilam Kadosh Baruch Hu she'ozer lo, and were it not for the fact that God helped him, Eno Yachalo, he would not be able to defeat him. Shnemar, as it says, Hashem lo yazvenu biyado, Hashem will not abandon him into his hand, v'lo yarshi'enu bihi shafto, and will not vilify him in his judgment of him. Okay, and Rashi just, I don't know what Rashi's answering. He says, Hashem lo yazvenu biyado, Hashem will not abandon him in his hand. Basra Ksi, that's written after that. I guess because
I mean, I don't know what the pasuk before.
the pasuk, another. I guess he's explaining the relationship between the 2 pasukim is that Sofer Rasha Latzadik Umavakish Lamiso, but God will not abandon him and he'll help him. Okay. Yeah, Isaiah.
Yeah. So this seems really weird, but maybe it's talking about the concept that like most of a person's actions aren't like free will actions.
Interesting.
Most of the things that a person does
Just dictated by your Yetzer.
just dictated by your physicality.
Okay, so that is explaining the pasuk, or you're trying to explain the Gemara,
The
or
Gemara,
both?
just
The Gemara, okay, right? Because I think that's definitely what the pasuk is saying, right? That Yetzer lev Adam, sorry, I always get Yetzer machshavos libo rak oyam.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
I think so,
Yeah,
right?
The other one is Ra Min Urav.
Yeah, right.
Nola.
Right. So in other words, actually, I'm not sure. I like your idea. I don't know if it's the puzzle, but I think it's a good thing for this. So then, what would it mean? Do you have an interpretation for we're not for the fact that God helps him, then he wouldn't be able to defeat him, or you're just taking a stance on the first part? I just want to make sure I'm not missing.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, I mean, maybe to explain that Rashi a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it just means that, like, look, like if you have like a temptation and then let's say you wake up in the morning, and
Yeah.
as the day progresses, like it's still lingering in your mind and like it just come up and like that it could get intense throughout the day, or it could just be just lingering there for longer and it can feel like it's intensifying because of that.
Yeah, I feel like that can happen, but I feel like Rashi's saying is that this is like what the Gemara is saying, that it continually gets stronger.
Yeah, I mean,
Like definitely stronger.
yeah, it does. I mean,
Okay.
I think it is getting stronger.
Is that true?
I mean,
The year target gets stronger as the day
feel
goes
like-
on?
Well, oh, you mean like the Yetzer Hara versus? Well, I would say I think it can.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of like
Because-
That's what I'm saying.
all about like nighttime being like that's like a lot of
Right.
I don't know. how much-
I mean, plain shot Rashi, Kol Hayom Ra Somitosefis. All day long, his Ra increases. I think that's shot.
Does
Yeah.
that just mean that he continuously encounters them throughout the day?
Yeah,
I
that's
wonder,
what
okay,
that's what I was
so-
trying to say. Yeah,
That's what you're trying to say?
that's what I was trying to. Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I'm trying to- meaning like if it's on your mind,
Mhm.
like from the beginning of the day, it's like it's just on your mind. Like it's
Okay, so-
you have to get it out.
How about I'm gonna respond to what you're saying, and if this is what you're saying, then thumbs up. But definitely one thing that happens throughout the day is you encounter more pitfalls for the Yetzer Hara. In other words, when you first get out of bed, the only Yetzer Hara that you're facing is like staying in bed, and the more you go through your day, the more opportunities there are for the Yetzer Hara to get you. Yeah.
The only question to ask on that is, isn't that obvious?
Isn't that obvious? Yes, but the reason why Rashi has to point it out is because that's not what I would obviously say that the pasuk is saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. And we still haven't explained what the Gemara is saying. Yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking.
executive decision. Okay, we're gonna take 2 sessions for this. Okay, but I think what we're gonna do, there's just no point in rushing it. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're going to. I do want to try to get through the facts today. This always happens.
I was like associating to like Hasigwa.
Yeah.
That's not gonna
I want to try to get through all of the commentary, or at least the main parts of the commentary. But what we'll do is, since next week, Wednesday is the last time before Rosh Hashanah. If we have leftover time, I'll probably try to segue into something that is Rosh Hashanah preparation related. Okay, so that'll be the stated goal.
If we have time.
If we have time, yeah. I mean, for all we know, this could last 2 sessions. Yeah, go ahead. 3, yeah. 13, like Asha, yeah.
So you're saying that the tzaddik here is the eternal king?
That's what it seems to be like. I don't think he's saying that the tzaddik is kol adam.
Oh yeah, I don't have another option, but I was just thinking, in the event that there was another option for that, then Lam and Gimel could be saying that Hashem doesn't that Hashem doesn't he doesn't just like abandon him
Yeah.
to the hands of the Russia, and that maybe that's talking about this Elohim question mark.
Doesn't abandon.
That's like the non-abandonment of God is the fact that Elohim also it's not just
Okay.
isn't just having the animal.
Okay, well, I think you know what I'm going to say. I think you know which Ramam I'm going to bring up that supports you. Well, I'll let you think about that while I call it Isaiah.
I have another thing.
Oh, yeah?
Like for the end of the pasuk, and that v'lo yershienu b'ishvato.
I think he's Shafto. I didn't actually look it up. Yeah.
I associated to your explanation or the
Yishvata,
Ram's
yeah.
explanation of like midas or rachamim,
Yeah.
right? That like God doesn't just like smite in the moment, like you're not just like labeled as like a Russian when you do something bad.
Yeah.
Rather, like part of the mishpat is like the trajectory and
Right.
the process.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking that for the last bit of the pasuk.
Okay.
That's another form of God helping as well. Meaning, if it wasn't for HaKadosh Baruch Hu helping you, as the pasuk says, there's the first part, which I'm saying is maybe the team, and the second part is that another way God helps is by prolonging your the judgment.
Meaning he will not vilify you in the manner in which he judges you, because his judgment is not based on a particular instance, it's based on your trajectory. Okay, yeah. I think that's a good shot. I'm gonna hold off on talking about your first part because I have a Rambam I want to go to. You can try to think about which Rambam I'm gonna quote. I've quoted this like a bazillion times.
It is a bazillion times?
A bazillion times, yeah.
Then I'm fairly certain I know which one it is.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Isaiah then tomorrow. Yeah.
Why does it mean, I guess, the second number that says that the Yitzhahara tries to kill him? Like, there doesn't seem to be, like, isn't the Yitzhahara the tribe that keeps him alive? Maybe there's different.
Yeah, so
ways to use the term Yitzhahara.
Or division ways
Right,
to
I guess this question is what
Well, it is also
Right.
ways to kill it, right?
So you mean, what does it mean by kill?
I mean, I can say you can say kill as like
Oh, okay, right. Metaphysical death would be a good. I think that actually is the shot here. What I was going to say was the thing I quote from the Jewish philosopher Alyssa Rosenbaum, Ayn Rand, who says man has one fundamental choice. Sorry, you have one fundamental choice. To be a rational human or a suicidal animal.
Yeah.
And the idea there being that if an animal relies on its instincts in the wild, then it will thrive. But if the human relies on its instincts, it'll self-harm and self-destruct. So that could be the literal death also. But I think it fits in better with the shot here that it's talking about like the metaphysical death. Yeah, Tamar?
Just a clarification from this discussion from before. The Kol Hayom, that has to be all day, not like every day. Is that
I think it has to be all day. Yeah. I think so. Okay, so what Ram am I going to quote?
Because you said a bazillion.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the one about the Chaverin and the.
Oh, you're right. That is the one I quote the most. Okay. All right. So how about this? Let me give you another hint.
I was trying to think
Okay. What's the most underrated Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva?
Oh shoot.
Ayala, do you know?
I think so. I was also going to say the one about Chaverim, but
Okay, yeah.
I thought of this. I think it's
I stand guilty as charged. Yeah.
Where he's talking about the psukim, which seem to contradict free will.
Exactly. Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Yeah. So this is in chapter 6 of Hilchos Tshuva, when the Rambam is talking about the psukim that seem to go against Bechira. And this is where the Rambam explains, this is going to answer your question also, partially, about what does it mean that God helps you? Okay, so I think this is shot in God helping you, but I think it applies to the Gemara. So he says a pasuk that seems to go against Bechira. Umahu zeh she'amar David tov v'yashar Hashem al kein yorech hatayim b'darach yadrech anavim b'mishpat v'yilamin adami darko. What is this that David said? Hashem is good and upright. Therefore, he instructs sinners on the path. He guides the humble in judgment, and he teaches the humble his way. So that seems to imply that God is like actively guiding people, but we don't really see God like doing that right nowadays. So what's the answer? Two answers. One, is God sent Nevi'im to make known to them the ways of Hashem and to return them in tshuva. So yeah, we don't have Nevi'im now, but we have the Nevi'im now. God sent the Nevi'im and told us everything we need to know for tshuva, so that'll guide us. But then the one I was thinking of is this one. Furthermore, shenasan behem koach lilmod ulahavin. He implanted in them, meaning in people, the faculty, the capacity to learn and to understand. Shemidazo b'chol adam. This capacity, I don't know why I use the word mida. This mode is in every person. The more a person is drawn in the ways of wisdom and righteousness, he desires them and chases them. This is what the Chachamim said, someone who comes to be purified is assisted. Kolomar, meaning to say, he will find himself assisted in the matter. Okay, so to answer your question, Ariel, it's not talking about being assisted externally. Yeah. This is talking about the fact that God created man with the Tehilim Elokim, and the Tehilim Elokim is hardwired to the more it's involved in Chachma and Tzedek, the more it chases after it. So that, I think, is what you were getting at when you were saying that that God, really saying God doesn't abandon you is, I think, even a more accurate way of saying that God is helping you, because what it means is that there is something that you always have constitutionally, which is the Tzelem Elokim, and God never like lets, like that is the way that's the help that he perpetually gave you that is always able to be to pull you back. Yeah.
I know this is gonna have an obvious answer, but I want to ask it.
Sure.
Anyway, so what about like being involved in like the mitzvahs and all these things? That makes you want to do it more.
Do you say in mitzvos?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, yeah, right.
God, within God, within this system of
yeah.
Mitzvah,
right. So the question is, what is it that about Chachma and Tzedek that makes you drawn to them more you're involved? Yeah. Yeah. Chaim, you have an answer?
You answer that it's lav dafka even Chachma and Tzedek, and rather just make up of humans that we do whatever we're like consistently habitualizing ourselves.
So you could say that, but I don't think that's what the Rambam.
Superficial.
No, I don't think the problem is the superficiality. I think that
He's making a specific point about good things.
So I there's two statements in Chazal, okay, that sound very similar, and people use them interchangeably. Even there's the one that the Rambam quotes, "Balatahir Messianoso," and then the parallel Balatame. Let me see if he Balatame. Let's see if no, he doesn't say. Oh yeah, hold on. I know where it is. It's in one of the Mefarshim on Mishlei Gimel Lamed Daled.
I guess what I mean by superficial, I mean it's just I feel like it downplays the.
You mean like it was like two broad strokes, like too of much of a broad stroke answer? Is that like
I don't know what you mean by broad stroke.
Broad strokes is like here's one answer for.
No, that's not what I mean. No, that's not what I mean. I just feel like there has to be something more in being involved with the Chachma with the Chachma and the.
Yeah, I think your intuition. I think I agree with your intuition, but I just want to support it with this.
Like not active enough.
No, it's not addicting.
It's not an active intellect.
It's not like I feel like there has to be something addicting about it that makes you want to do it more. Not just because it's a habit.
Yeah, but Rodif Osan. Yeah. So okay, well I'll say what I was gonna say. So there's this statement Habal Latar Messianoso, and then the opposite. But then there's B'derech Sha'adam Rote Lelech Molichanoso. In the path that a person wants to go on, then he is like moved on. That is like. Yeah, that's like the habit thing, right? Is that just means that you're gonna default into whatever habit you're in. But I agree with Ariel. I think what this is talking about here with the Chacham and the Tzedek, here's what I suspect. I'm open to being wrong on lots of things, but this is just like the way I've been viewing it. Is Chachma is the draw to Chachma is an innate thing in the Tzelem Elokim, that like your mind is looking for things to make sense, okay, and also has an enjoyment of learning. Like there is an innate enjoyment of learning. That's like the Aristotle. I'm sure there's a lot of modern philosophers who disagree with it, but I still like it. Internet Classic Archives. Anyone know what I'm going to refer to here? This is like one of the only Aristotle things I know. The beginning of metaphysics, the opening line of Aristotle's Metaphysics. Yeah, I only have read the first paragraph.
I know there's a related thing, like at least in this issue, when I first came, or I think the Rabbi Marcus, like the proof of learning or something.
Oh yeah, that is where Rebbe talks about it a lot. Okay, all men by nature desire to know. Okay, that's the famous line. An indication of this is the delight we take in our senses, for even apart from their usefulness, they are loved for themselves, and above all others, the sense of sight. For not only with a view to action, but even when we are not going to do anything, we prefer seeing, one might say, to everything else. The reason for this, most of all of the senses makes us know and brings light to many differences between things. So whatever, Aristotle's saying there's an innate drive to know, but it's interesting, Raya, I think, that like the information finders that God gave us, we are drawn to like seeing things and hearing. Like you look at a baby, right? Baby's just like looking at stuff and feeling, getting data. So he's taking that as an indication that he likes to know. I'm sure you can explain that evolutionarily. So I think that's the Chachma thing, is that we're attracted to Chachma and we delight in it. And then the Tzedek thing, I'm inclined to think, so you could say two things. You could say the whole Rambam's force a guy to give a get thing, like deep down, like, and I don't know what that means, break his fingers. but
That's what the Rambam's saying.
I know it's Chazal's thing, but like the Rambam, I think is the one who I thought I was under the impression that the Rambam was the first one who actually spelled it out, the reasoning, and said that it is not considered to be coerced because deep down the guy, this is his real Ratzon. I if you find anything earlier in the Rambam, please show me because I would love to not just say that this is the Rambam, but
That's my favorite because we were doing that in his share for like the entire year last year.
Okay.
Like that's like,
Yeah. But you could say that, but I think it's easier to just say that from a Mishlaic standpoint, that when you understand that doing good is good for you and for everyone around you, and it's going to improve society and make your life better, then you're drawn to that also. I don't know if that satisfies you, if that's like intrinsic enough, but yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, presumably, would you say the same thing for? Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't, but for like the opposite extreme, like like Richards, would you say that's also like
That a person is
drawn to it once he does it more and more and more?
I'd have to think about that. I mean, definitely a person's drawn to riches, but I don't know how much it parallels this. Okay, so let's go back to the we were at the Gemara, and we got there from Rav Elia, who said that the second theme of this, we didn't finish reading the second theme yet. Okay, good thing we're doing this 2 sessions. God saves him, will save him from his yetzer that threatens to overpower him every day. Ramzal, as Chazal say, b'chol yom bayom yisro sha'adam v'chule, tichsiv tzofet rashal l'tadigul mavakish lahamiso, Hashem lo yazben biyado. Okay, kedei sheyuchol lasot b'torah v'lishmor mitzvosav. So why does God save him? So that he can be involved in Torah and to keep his mitzvos. Okay, so there is a common theme here, which is David prioritizing keeping mitzvos, but the first one is saying that God will help him defeat his enemies because his only purpose in defeating his enemies is to become free to be involved in Torah, and God should save him from his yetzer because so that he can be involved in Torah.
So they're just external and internal.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. Okay. So now let's start reading the commentary. We're not going to get through those, but okay. Okay. V'amar Hashem. We're going to do this kind of superficially and just focus on the main points, okay? Because I do want to get to the controversial part at the end, okay? Vamar.
Is this like Rev Reggio controversial?
No, nothing is Rev Reggio controversial. Yeah. Vamar Hashem ori v'yishi. Im kain mimi ira. Hashem is my light and my salvation. If so, from whom shall I fear? So it's cause and effect reasoning, right? Because Hashem is my light and my salvation, therefore who will I fear? I think that's implicit. If nations arise, if regimes arise to kill me, Hashem ori v'yishi, God is my light and my salvation. In Cain, ma ira ma yaseh li adam. If so, what can I fear and what can man do to me? That's from Hallel. Okay. Al derech ki eshev b'choshech Hashem orli. This is in the same sense of the pasuk in Micha, which we all know. When I dwell in darkness, Hashem is light for me. V'od amar. Okay, now this is the part I wasn't sure if we should go into here. Okay. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to not go into it. I'm just going to show it to you. So this footnote, Rabbi Kravitz is very good. He basically brings down every single source in the Sforno that references anything about any of this. So he brings us down to this pasuk in Micha, which Sforno doesn't have a commentary on, but then he refers us to a Sforno on Bamidbar in Uvroshe Chachechem, where he explains what it means that God is light. Okay, so I did not have time to prepare that. It's a long Sforno, so I actually don't want to read it right now, but we might do that next time. Okay. V'od amar. Furthermore, he says, Im Hashem ma'oz chayai. If Hashem is the stronghold of my life, shekol es Shaul va'anashav itru alai v'Hashem matzilin yadam in kain mimi efrat. So he does bring it into Shaul because I guess he's explaining Sforno. At all times, Shaul and his men are trying to like encircle me. But Hashem saves me from their hand. If so, then what do I fear? Okay, so far it's just pshat. Okay. When the evildoers come to eat my flesh, when they seek my soul to take it. So eating my flesh is a much for killing me. Okay, not zombies. So too my tormentors and my enemies, those are the nations of the world. Hema kashal v'nafalu, they will stumble and fall. V'lo ani, and not I. Kasher ya'atzu alai, and I won't fall as they try to take counsel against me. Okay, so far this is just pshat, no ideas yet. Im tachne im kain alai machane, if they set up a camp against me, lo yira libi, my heart will not fear. Im takum alai milchama, v'zosani boteach. If they rise up against me with war, I will trust in this. Hainu, namely, Okay, so that's answering Isaiah's question. I'm trusting in the following. I'm trusting in the fact that I'm only asking one thing from Hashem. Hashem, to gaze upon the pleasantness of Hashem, be'iyun, that's talking about study, ulavakir behechalo b'masios, and to investigate his sanctuary, to visit his sanctuary, that's in actions. Okay, this is a huge theme in Sforno. You'll find him using this phrase again and again. For example, in I'm not going to read it because every time I read this, then it ends up being a separate shiur. Nasan bit salmenu kid musenu. He says bit salmenu is in regards to our ability to think and gain knowledge, and kid musenu is in regards to actions, that we act with free will. Okay, or in Kedoshim Tihu, he says that we have to be kadosh like Hashem in two ways. One is that we have to strive to actualize our metaphysical part, which is the thinking part. The second is that we have to separate our actions from animal influence and perfect ourselves in our actions. Okay, so iyun and maseh. Klomar, this is what I trust in. Shayan shekol, this is the theme. Shayan shekol tachlis kavnasi eno ki'im la'avdo b'torah u'mitzvah. Since the purpose, my entire intent is only to serve God in Torah and mitzvah. Ki etzpnei b'suko b'yom ra'a, when he will conceal me in his tent on the day of evil. Umila sukkah, you said you forgot what sukkah is here? Who said that? I thought you said I forgot what the tent. Oh, tent is. You said you forgot what tent is. Yeah.
No, I wrote 10.
Oh, 10. Yeah, I thought you said tent. Okay, yeah. Second time. Lo tomar ella al ma'ara seser ha'oyev. So this is only talking about the hiding, the secret lair of the oyev, of the enemy. Kamo Allah aryeh misuvka, like it says, a lion comes out from its hidden den. Hainu mima arava, from its ambushing spot. V'chein yerov mistor k'aryeh b'suka. Same rive. Rabin kumohu. I'll summarize in a second. Yasti rini b'seser ohlo. He will conceal me in the hiddenness of his tent. What does that mean? So this is a revolutionary shot, not a controversial one. Rotzlamar bizchus ohlo, in merit of his tent. Shehu ohel bal yitzan. I forgot to look this up. Can someone give me a Tanakh? This is pasuk in Yeshayahu. Lamed Gimel Chaf. Chaze Tzion Kiryas Moadenu. Einecha Sir Ena Yerushalayim. Nave Sha'anan. Ohel bal yitzan. Bal Yisa Yesedosav Lenetzach B'Chochav Alav Bal Yinateku. I think it means that it's a tent that will not falter or something like that, but I haven't looked it up yet. Thank you. Oh wow, what service? Another agent of the Hashgacha. It says the tranquil abode, the tent that will not be displaced. Yes, it means the tent that will not be displaced. So I assume that this is talking about like some sort of either literal tent or a metaphorical tent for like protection. No, he's saying it's he's sheltering me in the merit of his tent, which is the tent that doesn't move, Hainu HaTorah. Ohale Tushia, which is the tent of Torah, which is the tent of Tushia is another word for Torah. Bitsuri Romameni, on a rock you will lift me up, Shimna Eni Mibo Bitsara, Vyagan alai Kitsur Hamagin Lavo Benikras Hatsurim. He'll shield me like a rock that protects you in the cleft of the rock. Okay, so let's just summarize what he's saying so far. Okay, this is his main point. So he's saying, let's look at the what David is trusting in, the thing that gives him confidence that Hashem is going to protect him, is he's saying, I only have one. Is prerogative a word, or is that's a word, right? Was that right? I only have one one thing that I'm like aiming for, which is to be involved in Torah and mitzvos, and because of that, then I know that God is going to protect me. Okay, and that's going to be my zchus. So can we get an idea out of this? I feel like we got an idea last time, but let's just think it through fresh again. Yeah, Isaiah?
I just have a question.
Yeah, sure.
It seems like he had two themes in his parish, and I'm wondering like what's the relationship?
So he's gonna say the second one in a little while. Yeah. Actually, you know what, let's go with the original plan. Let's just read the commentary, get the Bekius in it, and then we'll be able to think about it. Okay, now he says like this: Shema Shem B'Koli Ekra Kan Nichnas Al Chelik Hasheni Shamarnu. Raya for the pivot point, right? Now he enters into the second portion that he spoke about. L'chalos pnei hakel yisbarach, to beg before God, shiatzi lehu miyad yitzro, to save him from his yetzer. V'chaneni v'aneni, be gracious unto me and answer me. Kolomar tainli bzos hamanas chinam. give me a free gift. You asked me for shiur and tachanun, right? Yeah. So this is the I know I've quoted this in shiur before, but if you ever want to know what tachanun means, it's the first Rashi in Vayeschanan, right, which is lashon tachanunim. Rashi says there, did it take me to the wrong place?
Just click.
Oh, there we go. In chinun b'chol makom ela lashon matanas chinam.
No, it's just that's my permissive portion, and I never really thought about Vayeschanan as like
Yeah, right. Yeah. So he says chinun only means a free gift. Afal pishish l'tzadikim litlos b'masei matovim, even though tzadikim can like theoretically rely on their good deeds. They only ask for free gifts from God. In other words, they don't rely on their zechus. Okay, so David Melch is asking Chaneni. He's not asking like he's not saying I deserve this. He's saying like I don't deserve it, but grant it to me anyway. The Amar Lacha Amar Libi Bakshu Fanai. Yirtzeh, what does this mean? Biglalcha, because of you. That's Lacha, because of you or for your sake. Amar Libi, my heart said. Kish Amar Atem Hanai Bakshu. Hainu lahavinu lahaskil. Okay, so when I say, I'm getting the pronouns mixed up here. I think he says when God says seek my face, that means to understand and to gain knowledge. Let's read it through and we'll check it out. Klomar kishihu omer Kel, I think, Panai Bakshu, when God says, seek my face, Biglalcha hu amar zeh. He's saying it for your sake. V'lo l'tachlis acher. Okay, I'm getting all the pronouns mixed up. V'ata espanecha Hashem avakesh. And now, your face Hashem I will seek. V'sholom itach shaim. I'm asking for you two things. Oh, there goes the one thing. Achas she'al taster panachim mimeni. One, don't conceal your face from me. Because komim alai chamas hamatik. When the wrath of the enemy comes up against me. Shenis, I think the enemy here is the internal enemy, the Yetzer Hara. Shenis al tat be'avavdecha. Don't turn away your servant in wrath. Rotzalomar al tatzrichehu liknos chaye sha'a ulatordo be'ol derech eretz shuhu af. Okay, so this is a creative parish. He's saying, don't make it necessary for me to acquire the needs of my physical life, which will burden me with the yoke of earning a living, which is called anger. Okay, so we're not talking about anger of like punishing him for a sin. We're talking about like anger. Yeah, like I was gonna say zeas apecha. I don't know if that's like a fair like a connection here, but so in other words, like this, he's saying two things. He's saying when the Yetzer Hara is incited against me, save me from that. And then in the day-to-day trenches of adult life of the Yetzer Hara, that was a This Is Water reference, which we should all reread before Rosh Hashanah. Then I also need to be saved from those day-to-day like challenges as well. Lefisha ezrasi kaisa, because you were my help adhena up until now. L'chein alti tisheni v'alta azveni elokeishi. Therefore, don't abandon me and don't forsake me, the God of my salvation. Al derech Hashem lo azvenu biyado. That's going back to the original theme that God will not abandon him. Okay, all right. I know we're doing a lot right now. Okay, but I want to get to the end of the PQs here, and then we'll have what to think about for next time. Why do I ever think we can do this in one shot? It's just not realistic. Ki aviv imi azvoni, my father and mother abandoned me. Oh, here's another creative shot. What does this mean? Yomar aviv imi acharei she'asu chelkam laseis chomer muchan laholid bedome. Because each of my parents gave their portion to reproduce in a manner similar to them, azavuni, they've abandoned me. Ki ein le'el yadam lahashlim achelik she'ata hakel ose. They cannot perfect the part of me that God completes. Ka'amram, as they say, shlosha shtutfim v'yesh b'adam. There are three partners in the creation of man. L'kadosh baruch hu tsar tsura b'soch tsura v'nosim ba neshama. Okay, God creates a form within the form and instills man with a neshama. What does that mean? He'll explain. But Hashem yasfeni kihu yashlim v'itin banu hashlemus hamiti. Okay, so the way he's learning it is basically your parents just contribute the genetic material and then they abandon you, right? Your parents are not giving you anything else other than that. Now, obviously, your parents can teach you and can raise you and stuff like that. But in terms of the, I guess, the bare minimum that they do, they're just like giving you the physical self. Okay, but God is the one who perfects your soul.
Oh, that's a great riot for it. That's good what I'm doing.
Okay, good. I was gonna tell you later. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Cain, Atahu Avinu Amiti. Therefore, God is your true father. Okay. This is actually a Sforno about the gashing yourself over the dead. This is a shot there. Yeah, because he says, Bani Matem Hashem Elokechem, Lotis go to Al Mace, or something like that, right? So what's the idea of you were children to God? So he says, if the only parent you had was your physical father, so then you're losing your only parent. But he's saying that the pasuk is alluding to the fact that you have another parent, whatever that idea is, I'm not sure, but he's saying you have another parent, which is God. So it's consistent. Ka'amru, as they say, Halohu avicha kanacha hu ascha v'aychonacha. In Hazino, it says he created you and he established you, or he prepared you. Ulcha ani hoshieni, and for yours, ulcha ani hoshieni. For you, save me, because I sought your precepts. Okay. So I think he's saying that Hashem Yasfeni means that asking Hashem to help perfect you. I don't know how that's asifa, how that is gathering. Okay.
I guess
Yeah.
Maybe you're becoming more like Hashem's child if you're
interesting. You're being drawn close to him. Yeah. Okay. The Ata Horini Hashem Jakafa Nocheni Borach Mishor Laman Shorai. Oh, we're almost at the fun part. Okay. Instruct me, Hashem, in your way and guide me on the level path for the sake of my Shora rise. So here he does not learn Shora as enemies. Roshalamer Shri Ruyos Halev. Oh, this is actually very creative. So guide me on the correct path and save me for the sake of the certainties of the heart. Okay, milashon sharir v'kayim, like you have on a ksuba or on a star. You say sharir v'kayim is like definite and established. V'zeh kol Torah b'chlala miyasheres derech yashar lifnei ish lanchoso derech lo yado yitzur hara ulahayshiro atov. The entire Torah guides a person on a path, straight path before a person, to guide him on the path that his Yetzer doesn't know and guides him towards the good. So he's saying, what's the Shririos Halev? Am I misunderstanding this? Yeah. Lama'an Shorai. I'm just getting thrown off by the Lama'an. It might be saying something like, guide me on your path, on the level path, for the sake of, in order to straighten me out, for the sake of the straight. I don't know what Shri Ruyos Halev means. Okay, right now here we get to the part I want to read. Okay, let's just look at the English to set ourselves up for this. Okay, so the way we translated it is, don't give me over to the soul of my tormentors when false witnesses rise up against me who breathe violence. Now, who are we assuming that that's talking about? Right, Shaul and his enemies, okay? If not for the fact that I believe to see the goodness of Hashem in the land of life, hope to Hashem strengthen and embolden your heart, and hope to Hashem. Okay, ends off on a nice note, right? Okay, because we were learning this before we did Sforno, Reb Elia, we were learning this as literal enemies. But Reb Elia is learning the whole second half to be about internal enemies. Okay, so who are the enemies? Yetzer hara. Okay, so check this out. Vana Hashem, I beseech you, Hashem, al titzni b'nefesh sarai, don't give me over into the soul of my tormentors, sheim machshavos halev, which are the thoughts of the heart, okay, fantasies. Ki kamu bi ede sheker, when false witnesses arise against me, sheim halev v'ha'ayin, which are the heart and the eyes. Okay, ki liba ve'ena sarsura dechata ninhu. Okay, that's a statement in the Gemara, in the Yerushalmi, that the eyes and the heart are the emissaries of sin. Okay, that they seek out stuff and then they like draw you in. V'feach Hamas, and they breathe violence. Hainu midaber Hamas. It means yefeach here means to breathe. Okay, because you could read yefeach as to set a trap. V'omer Eli, ha'omer Eli lachato, that they tell me to sin. Why? They tell me to sin, ki Hashem rachaman, because God is merciful. Ubrov rachamav yimchol, and God will forgive you in his abundant mercy. Don't listen, Ariel. The Omer, and it says, Okay, it says the Yetzer Hara says, "Kaveh el Hashem chazak v'ametz libecha." Hope to Hashem and strengthen your heart. Oscha v'kaveh el Hashem and hope to Hashem. Shezeh hamedaber chamas omer elai. The thing that is speaking violence says to you, your Yetzer Hara says to you, "Kaveh el Hashem v'kaveh ilav." Hope to Hashem and hope to Him. Ki afilu shetechata, even if you sin, yimchol lecha b'rachman, He'll just forgive you. Okay, lule ha'emanti liros v'gomer. We're not for the fact. How does he say this? Shiur ksuvim kafu. So he gives us a nice little summary of the psukim. Here's the summary of the psukim. Kamu bi sheker v'teichamas. False witnesses rise up and they breathe violence. V'hayu yicholim alai, and they would defeat me. Lule ha'emanti. Were not for the fact that I believed. Uma omer elai. What do they say to me? What does this speaker of violence say to me? Who omer, it says to me, Kaveh el Hashem, hope to Hashem. Ki gam ki tarbe lachdo. No matter how much you sin, yislach v'yirapeh mishuvosayich, then God will forgive you and heal you from your waywardness. Nimsa, consequently, shezeh lo bilvad sheker hu dover. Not only is it speaking falsely, ki haomer hakadosh baruch hu vatran yivatran me'av. Okay, we Isaiah when I are learning this Gemara for my Pirkei Avos here. Anyone, this is a fun Gemara. Anyone who says that God is a vatran, which literally means he's loose. Okay, may that person's bowels loosen. Okay, like if you say God is loose, then you should get diarrhea. Okay, which we don't know what that means. Okay, but it means basically that if you say that God is just like really easy to forgive, then like you should like diarrhea yourself. Okay,
the Christians really take this to heart.
Yes, yeah, very much so. Okay, but it's not so simple because I'll ask the question about Omer O Davar Shu Chamas. It says, so not only is it telling you this bad thing that like, just hope to Hashem and He'll forgive you, but it says another thing that is Chamas, Hainu Bilti Tzedek, which is not true, Ki Elokim Shofet. Oh, sorry, I don't know what the other thing was, because God actually does judge you. Okay, so in other words, like this, just to highlight this radical interpretation here, okay? We're inclined to think of this as in a hopeful, optimistic way, with comfort. I don't know if they can hear the music in the background, or that's just going to sound like I would do a weird voice there. Okay, so when we read this, I feel like when the Chazan says, you feel like he's like telling you to hope to Hashem, right? That's how most Mefarshim interpret it. But according to the Rav Elia, this is the voice of the Yetzer Hara saying, just hope to Hashem and He'll forgive you.
That's not a good.
Yeah.
That's not a good line then.
Oh, well, look, people also say Arba'im Shana Kut B'dor, which is like a really, really bad, yeah, right, yeah, so that's really bad. Okay, but anyway, so this is telling you, this is the voice of the Yetzer Hara, okay? And it's saying that David is saying, were it not for the fact that I believe to see the goodness of Hashem in the land of life, which the Rav Elia doesn't really explain, but presumably that's like the antidote. In other words, like believing in the actual truth of like how you connect to Hashem is going to save you from like this pitfall. The problem though, just to respond to what Ariel was saying, what's the problem with saying that it's Yetzer Hara to believe that like God will forgive you and He's abundant to forgive?
It's true.
It's true. We say this all the time. This is like the theme of Ne'ilah and Yom Kippurim, right? And the Yugam Midas Rachamim, right? So what we need to figure out is apparently there are two versions of the belief in God being merciful and abundant to forgive. One is the true idea, which is the basis for our doing tshuva. The other is the fantasy, which is the rationalization for us sinning, okay, which this is a warning against. Yeah, Chaim?
Just think of that last one. Like that saying, hope to Hashem, strengthen and embolden your heart, and that is like the bad things that you're doing, like keep doing those.
I think so. Yeah.
And try and hope to Hashem.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'll after I call on Ariel, I think this is in this week's parsha. I think this also works out. Yeah, Ariel.
Well, I mean, is there another category though? The category of where someone doesn't have errors. Oh, you throw in the copper and doesn't go in copper.
Yes, I was thinking about that also. Is the echtev ashu?
That's like an in between category.
Right. That's that Ariel's talking about in the one of the things that is ma'akev to tshuva.
But it's funny with the Yetzer, in our case, where the Yetzer Hara says, "Oh, don't worry, Hashem." That seems to be more of like, you're extremely vulnerable. Not that you want to do it because you're supposed to be the cover, but like it's more like you're being succumbed.
Yeah, correct. And I think that is the type of pitfall we're talking about here. So this is in the 4 things that are ma'akev tshuva. This first category is things that if you do one of these 4 things, then God will not give you the ability to do tshuva due to the magnitude of your sin. It's ha'omer echtev ashuv. Someone says, I will sin and then I'll do tshuva. Uvichlal zeh, and included in that is echtev yom kippur mechaper. I'll sin and Yom Kippur will atone for me. Okay, so I think that is related to this. But I was just going to say in this week's Parsha, I think the type of reasoning, I quoted this in Mishlei on Monday night, I think.
This past Monday night?
Yeah.
No, I heard Zach was there.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
You know, if he told me he was going to be there,
I didn't know he was going to be there.
Cancel our plans.
I didn't know he was going to be there. You're the one who talks to him every
I
day.
had no idea. I
Oh,
was a couple
so
weeks
maybe you should talk to.
So today though.
Yeah. Where's it? Well, okay. The puzzle is he's barach bil vavole more. Shalom yili ki bishrush li be'elech. That a person will hear the words of God's curse and he'll bless himself in his heart, saying, "Peace will be with me because I follow the authority of my heart." You know, there's like this certain feeling of yeah, God is saying he's going to punish me, but like everything's going to be okay. Like I don't have to worry about those curses. Okay, so what we have to figure out is as follows. Just to summarize here, 2 themes in this perek according to Rav Elia. First theme is saying that God will save him because his only prerogative is to be involved in Torah and mitzvos, and that's the only reason he's asking that's the only reason he can be sure that he's going to that God will help him in his wars. Second is he's asking God to save him from his own yetzer, okay, and he's identifying the what's the word? Like the lure, that the Yetzer Hara is using to try to like get him to fall into the trap. But we need to also unify the perek and account for the change in tone. Okay, which I think we're going to end up. I haven't listened to the shiur from last year. I think it sounds like we're going to end up close to last year in terms of the theme, but I really want to see what this nuance adds to it. Okay, and then if we have extra time afterwards, then we'll or do something related to Rosh
Can we do this tomorrow about the parents and God?
Sure. Yeah.
So it says Tanarabon Shlosha Shutpenhe.
Yeah.
Be'adam Hakadosh Baruch Hu Ve'avi Ve'ima.
Yeah.
And Rashi, it has to do with keyword of aim actually. Shlosha Shuvahim Mefarish Be'Braisa Be'Masechet Nida Ish Mazriya Lovin Shabo Isha Mazriyat Odem Shabo Hakadosh Baruch Hu Nefech Neshama.
Right.
Mar Ayin Shmias Ozen V'Dibur.
Yeah, right. That's what the Sforno is referring to. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
it's
right.
like,
That is the exact
like
Gemara, right? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, tomorrow.
That's a question we could maybe discuss it next time. But like, if the person is feeling a false sense of safety from the fact that Hashem forgives, why is it chazak b'yamatzi bech? I feel like that's a strange thing to bring in here, like strengthening your heart.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so we have to understand what the Yetzer Hara is saying.
I was thinking to be like strengthened in the decisions that you're making in your heart, meaning
like following your heart.
Things, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'd be inclined to think that that's what Rav Elia is saying because he did say that the heart is the agent of sin.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Can you repeat what he said?
Yeah, he said that saying strengthen your heart means keep doing what your heart tells you, meaning the sins and stuff. And it's okay because God's going to forgive you. Yeah, Ayala?
So just to make sure I'm understanding, the first half David's saying that David is trusting in Hashem that he's going to save him from his enemies, but in the second half he's not necessarily trusting because he's asking Hashem to save him from his yetzer.
Right, correct, yeah. And I'm going to say one more thing because I think we said this last year and I don't think it's like that far of a step. I don't feel like I'm giving anything away. That because in the first half he's saying that God is only going to save him from his enemies because of his dedication to Torah and mitzvos. There's only one threat, which is coming from inside. So now he needs to ask Hashem for help for that. So I think that's going to be in the direction. Yeah.
Why does he need to ask Hashem for help from that if he's already dedicated to Torah and mitzvot?
Good question. Yeah. I feel like we talked about that last year also. Yeah.
I don't remember last
year. Okay, good for you. Yeah, I would rather totally forget it than half remember it. He said if he's dedicated to Torah and mitzvos, then why does he have to ask Hashem to help him with these Yetzer Hara?
Well, why is that a question?
Because
if being dedicated is going to save him from his enemies, if Hashem's gonna save him because he's dedicated. Hashem should save him from his Yetzer Hara also because he's dedicated. to Torah.
And you're using enemies as Yetzer Hara?
No, he's saying it's the same commitment to Torah and mitzvos that gives him the zechus to be saved from his external enemies. Should also have result in God saving him from his internal enemies.
Like people,
like Shaul, yeah.
Shaul, but here's internal.
Yeah, the second half is the internal. Yeah. Okay, let's stop and think about it. And again, thankfully, we say it twice a day, so you know. Okay, all right. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm laughing awkwardly. Okay, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's good to get back into Tehilim. I missed Tehilim all summer. Like, yeah.